3rd and 6, and they are, listen, the Raiders are such good pass rushers, and I think you're going to have an opportunity to see it for the first time, that they really defy the short passing game, even though it only takes a couple seconds to get off. Those fellas get back in that backfield as fast as anybody I've seen in several years.
And we saw Riggins head to the sideline. Nick Giaquinto and Joe Washington in on this passing down for Joe Theismann. Slip. Looked to be a mix-up. Howie Long on the cover-up.
Well, that's embarrassing. I know what Joe did is probably catch his foot on the center. Now, yep, there it is. You see the center caught. That's about the only way a quarterback ever falls down coming back out of there, but that happens a lot more often than you'd like to see. Jeff Bostic got his foot right in the way. Embarrassing a bit.
And here's Jeff Hayes back at his 15-yard line. Greg Pruitt back for the punt. Pruitt averaging 9.5 yards per punt return rifle.
He doesn't tell them to get off the field and mind their own business, but he does his job.
It is a first down and 20. Back at the 23. Theismann can't find anyone. Howie Long and Lyle Alzado bring him down.
You know, you'd say, Joe, why don't you throw the ball? I mean, anywhere you throw it has to be better than taking the punishment of a hit. But as we take a look at the coverage, here's the wide shot. You see Joe going back. Now take a look to the left of your screen. He's trying to throw a screen pass. But Rod Martin is standing right in the middle of the screen, so he can't throw the ball. He can't throw the ball away because if you look, all of his receivers are perfectly covered. If he throws in the middle, it's grounding the ball. So he does about the only thing left.
And he now has a second down. And 32 back. Penalty marker thrown as the ball was batted down. Looked to be Alzado, and there's Howie Long in an animated discussion.
There we go again.
Mark May, the Redskin right guard, and the left defensive end, Howie Long, who said before the game, you know, we're not very welcome when we travel, talking about the Raider Ball Club. Howie said, would you want your daughter to marry a Raider? I don't know. Howie may be taking it a step further.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've been around them for so long that I know all that stuff is baloney, but a lot of people buy it, and they seem to have an effect on their opponent on Sunday, and so they stay with it. But right now,
Holding 74 decline.
And
now 46 yards, 12 carries. We're still first quarter with 2 minutes remaining. Play action. And the Raiders did not go for it. A one-handed sack by Howie Long.
You think those fellas aren't strong? Now, Joe Theismann weighs almost 200 pounds, and although he looks like a midget, he's 6 foot tall. At least it says that in the program. And to be able to take a man like that with one hand and absolutely stuff him. That's what the official was calling here. He had no chance to get away from Long, even though he only had him by one arm. Look at this. Boop. Thank you very much. And now it's their first 3rd and 15.
And the Raiders with 3 sacks at 27 yards, setting up a third down. Redskins continue to alter their formations. 3rd down and 7. Again, Theismann could not find a receiver. Good coverage by the Raiders. Townsend and Piquel getting to Theismann.
Well, he's trying to get to somebody late to the outside. And if you take more than 2.5 or 3 seconds, you will not have time against the Raider defense. Charlie Sumner has been sitting there in a hole since the time this game started. He inserts the plays. He gives the defensive linebackers, Hendricks and Millen, an opportunity. They change the defense as we watch number 3, Mark Mosley, try and kick the field goal.
Who starts it, and the only way one club will get penalized is if the other guy steps away, and that's a tough thing to do.
Well, I think what's happening right here, Mark, is that you don't call it if you don't see it. And I don't think anybody saw the initial contact. What they see is the reaction. They see 2 guys going at one another after the play's dead, and they didn't see the start, so they didn't call it. And that's a good decision.
All right, 3rd down and 9 at the 13. Theismann is hauled out, but a flag thrown for Townsend. Getting to the quarterback, but a penalty marker is down.
Face mask, and I think they're in discussion. Millen is livid. That play was called from over there by the head linesman. And they said that Townsend grabbed a hold of his face mask, and Greg is not agreeing with it, and it did not look to me like he did either.
And look out, Matt Millen just tossed his helmet. He could get an unsportsmanlike conduct unless the official did not see it or chose not to see it. So it is a face mask on the Raiders.
Haggerty could have overruled him, but he didn't see it clearly enough to make sure, so he adds to the fatigue.
Raiders coming back second half. Now the Redskins on the move. Big rush. And Theismann pulled down by Long. Howie Long with a significant sack with 5 minutes, 8 seconds left, fourth quarter.
Came from the outside on the right. And this is one thing that I'm sure Joe would like to have another attempt to try and handle, because he knows you can't get caught at this time in the ball game. Time is one thing. They're under 5 minutes on the clock. The field position is everything.
That's the fourth sack for the Raiders. The Washington offensive line had not allowed a sack the previous 2 games. Third down and 28. Back at the 31. Washington. Joe Washington. San Francisco beating New England. Art Theismann going sideline. And we'll have to wait and see where they spot it. Charlie Brown on the reception again. And for Brown, his 9th catch of the day. It is just short of the first down. 1 minute and 27 remaining, fourth quarter. Raiders lead it 35-30. And again, Theismann completes the drive.
Marv, let's remember, there is 1:08 remaining. The Skins have 2 timeouts left. They cannot kick a field goal. They are 5 points behind. They have got to score a touchdown. They can't afford to have 2 balls caught in the field of play.
And a timeout has been called.
That gives them 1.
Right, Redskins down to 1. Raiders have 3. When we resume, it'll be Washington operating from the Los Angeles 34-yard line. First down at the 34 with 1 minute 8 remaining.
We're seeing today what happens when 2 offensive teams challenge defensive secondaries. Do not give the cornerbacks credit for being able to cover. Have good execution, good structure, and say, fellas, catch me if you can, but I don't think you can. And that's the way it's worked for both sides.
And we'd like to take the opportunity to thank some of the people who have made this telecast possible. The executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Weissman. Coordinating producer of football, Ted Nathanson. The telecast of today's game produced by Peter Rolfe. Directed by John Gonzalez. Technical director Jim Marshall. Associate director Mike Heilbaum. First down play for Theismann. He has gone. 40 Brown at the 6. Brought down by Kenny Hill. And the clock is running. We're down to 50 seconds remaining. Theismann.
He doesn't want to take a timeout. He's called another play in the huddle. He can catch the defense napping. He's going to force the Raiders to call timeout. Good play.
He was trying, as you say, to catch the defense. Not only not ready, but also upset about that last play.
Well, no. What he'd like to do is he wants to get the time, but he doesn't want to call his last time. So he gets on the ball quickly. He has his offense line up. It forces the Raiders, who are not ready to play right yet, to call one of their own. That's just heads-up football.
29-yard pass play. Charlie Brown again Charlie Brown has had a magnificent day. 11 receptions, 181 yards. 43 seconds left, and the Redskins will have first and goal at the 6-yard line. Coming up next, the Giants and the Chargers, or in some areas, the Dolphins and the Saints. So stay right here on NBC for the second part of our NFL doubleheader. Washington Redskins at one point led 20-7. Raiders came from behind. At one point they led 35-20.
And that was with 7.5 minutes left.
First and goal at the 6 as Brown goes to the left. Weisman looking end zone, overthrows Brown. He saw he was covered.
That's right.
James Davis. And Kenny Hill all over Charlie Brown.
Okay, the other side. We've got Lester Hayes. One-on-one. Monk's in motion to get Lester Hayes right off the top of him. That is a legal play. Monk was not alert enough to take a look at Hayes. That ball was not going in his direction anyway. He was trying to check out where it was thrown. Better not do that.
Weisman is 22-38. 411 yards. Second and goal at the 6. Looking Washington. Touchdown. Given the Redskins a 37-35 lead with 33 seconds remaining. Fourth quarter.
Marv, you need to say so little in a ball game like this. Now, Theismann has just done about all a quarterback can be asked to do. He started out challenging the defense. This team has only given up 30 points defensively all year long. The Redskins have put 37 on the board. I'd say that's a pretty good day's work. With 7.5 minutes to play, they're 15 points down. A lot of people in these stands gave up. But you could tell on the very first ball possession, the Redskins hadn't. They threw a screen pass, got great blocking, came back, set up a score, and it's been their momentum ever since. It's carried them into the win column. And with 30 seconds left, it isn't over yet.
Well, Theismann throwing his third touchdown pass of the day. He threw 3 against Seattle last week. He's connected twice with Joe Washington. Washington's first touchdowns of the season. Redskins with a 37-35 lead. And here is Jeff Hayes. Red Cook. We're down to 28 seconds remaining, fourth quarter.
2 timeouts for the Raiders. That one play that Joe Theismann made to force the Raiders to call timeout could, in the end, be a very big strategic plus.
5 plays, 69 yards for that lead score. Stuart Anderson stopping Greg Pruitt on the 18-yard return. And Jim Plunkett has to go for it all. Football. Vernon Dean has just ended the Raider hope. Vernon Dean, in his second year out of San Diego, has concluded it. seconds. And the Redskins just have to sit on the football. 7th turnover by the Raiders that killed them in the first half. And now Dean picks it off from Plunkett.
You can see if there's a prayer, let's throw it down to number 82, see if he can come up with it. This game is history. It's one of the best offensively played games I've ever seen.
Penalty marker was thrown as Theismann just sat on the football. Washington Redskins on their way to their first ever victory over the Raider franchise. They had lost the previous 3. A procedure penalty on the Raiders. More football to come following the Redskins and the Raiders. You'll see either Miami and New Orleans or the Giants and the Chargers right here on NBC. And now the clock running out. We'd like to thank our statistician Joe Bann, our spotters Gabe Romano and Vince Scanlon. Joe Gibbs congratulating the Raider players. Marv Albert with John Brody from Washington. Again, the final.